Hello and welcome to today's episode of Thrive After 45. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, heart whisperer, midlife mirror, and mentor. And every week, I am so honored to share space and energy with inspiring guests whose stories reflect so many possibilities of thriving beyond 45. Together, we'll uncover the whispers of the heart, the power of midlife transformation, and the wisdom that fuels expansion. What if the conversations that we avoid the most are the very ones that could bring the greatest peace to the people we love? It is such an honor and a privilege to welcome Lili Udell Fiore to Thrive After 45 today. Lili is an Amazon best-selling author, speaker, caregiver advocate, certified end-of-life doula, certified dementia practitioner, and master grief coach. And she is on a mission to change the way we approach dementia, caregiving, and end-of-life planning. Raised by a father who is an Episcopal priest and hospital chaplain, she grew up witnessing compassionate care in action. That understanding became deeply personal when she spent over 12 years caring for an aunt, father, and mother, navigating dementia, family dynamics, medical advocacy, and loss. Through that journey, Lili learned that with structure, honesty, and the right support, caregiving can shift from overwhelming to meaningful. She founded Much Love Lili to provide practical guidance, resources, and tools that replace fear with clarity and confidence. Her message is simple and powerful. Planning ahead is not morbid, it's love. And in midlife, when so many women are caring for others, this conversation is absolutely essential. Lili, I am so grateful to have you here today with us. I know we are going to unpack so much. So thank you for your time, energy, wisdom, and expertise.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. We talked about this last year, and you are such a popular host that it's taken a while to get on the schedule, but I'm delighted, and these conversations are timeless. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter when you hear this podcast. It
Yeah.
is relevant always. So,
Isn't isn't that the truth, right? We are
yeah.
always dealing with how to support others in caregiving roles, and in particular us as midlife women,
Yes.
that sandwich generation, isn't it?
It is indeed. It is indeed. So there are I could talk for hours. Obviously, certifications in three areas.
Yeah.
Um, this is my passion.
Hmm.
But what I want to hit on today are some of the bullets points that
Hmm.
I think are just tantamount to survival
Hmm.
and to just creating the most sacred, holy,
Mm.
or spiritual, if you don't believe in
Yep.
God,
Yep.
experience for you and your loved ones.
Mm.
So I think you want me to just dive
Yeah.
in or
I love diving in. That's what we do here. We don't
oh
go
good.
into the fluff, we go into the meat and potatoes.
Oh
Yeah.
good, good, good. So one thing that I did not realize
Hmm.
myself is that if your loved one has already expressed their wishes
Hmm.
that they want their life to end whenever it naturally happens, be it stroke, heart attack, whatever. If you call 911 because they're unconscious or they've fallen,
Okay.
unless you have the end of life COLST or most order that is signed by their physician and is usually printed in a very bright, on a very bright piece of paper, and put on the fridge with a magnet. When
Hmm.
you call 911, they are legally obligated to do everything in their power to revive your loved one. Unless you have that form
Hmm.
previously signed by the doctor saying that they are do not resuscitate. This is so, so, so important. Uh, when an older person or someone who's has frail bones
Hmm.
is given CPR, their
Hmm.
ribs often break. They
Yeah.
end up with a lot of bruising. This is not an easy thing to come back from. This
Right.
requires a lot of healing. So if your loved one has already accepted the fact that they're not going to get better,
Hmm.
it is so important to sit down with them and have the conversation. Hey, mom, do you
Hmm.
really want to be here? Do you really want to extend this?
Hmm.
Or do you want to go be with your parents, be with your siblings, be with your spouse? And well, if you do, then let's go ahead and get this signed form and put it here.
Hmm.
And if you want to be really proactive, keep a copy in the glove compartment, send it to the hospital, for your
Yeah.
medical records.
Yeah.
Make sure you're attending. Well, they should have a copy because that's the doctor that should have signed it. And
Right.
send it to your local ambulance, who would be the people that would pick you up.
Sure.
And just try to cover all your bases.
Hmm.
My number one priority with caregivers
Hmm.
and with families is to make you as bulletproof as possible so that later on you
Hmm.
have absolutely no regrets. We
Right.
all do, hopefully, the best we can with what we know, but not knowing and not being able to do, and then having the hindsight can be so painful and
Yeah.
so hard because we don't know what we don't know. And
Right.
since and I didn't know certain things, and my dad taught death and dying at the UVM med school, you know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so one of the first things I always say is the moment your friend, loved one, spouse, child, parent
Hmm.
has been given a diagnosis
Hmm.
where they're not going to get better, okay?
Hmm.
If you know this to be fact, and if they are aware of it,
Hmm.
um, and if they have dementia, then you need to have this discussion, or the POA, the healthcare power of attorney, needs to have it with their current attending doctor.
Hmm.
And you need to ask the doctor, sit down with your loved one. How do they want to die? Do they want to
Hmm.
die in a hospital? Do they want to die in a hospice? Do they want to die at home? Of course, the caveat is that you cannot always predict when things are going to
Sure.
happen. So
Yep.
if we have choices,
Hmm.
what are your wishes? Um, do you want to die alone, or do you want to die with strangers with you because it's too hard for you to be there with your loved ones?
Hmm.
Or do you want to die with your loved ones?
Right.
Great questions to ask.
Right.
Um, so one of my dad's favorite sayings was, remember, half of all doctors graduated in the bottom half of their class, and yet we give them credit for all being valedictorians. So
Right.
I personally, because obviously I was raised Episcopalian, for
Hmm.
me, my gut feeling is God talking to me.
Hmm.
Whatever it is for you, but your gut,
Right.
they've proven, is like another brain. It has so many
Yeah.
sensory things.
Right.
So if your gut says, I'm not really sure how I feel about this doctor, sit down with them and say, how do you envision my loved one leaving this earth?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's so important to remember that, yes, they might have been in the bottom half of their class, but if they're not comfortable with death because they swore the Hippocratic Oath to do everything in their power to extend life,
Right.
that's just the way it is.
Right.
Many, many, many people are lousy at dealing with death. and that
Yeah.
includes doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have not come to terms with death and mortality in their own lives,
Mm-hmm.
then how the heck are they going to ever do it with your
Right.
loved ones? So
Right.
if there's a disconnect,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely call up the insurance company, find out who the palliative care doctors are, and get your parents switched or your loved ones switched to a palliative care doctor that will not, who understands that they can't get better, but
Right.
that we can do a lot of things to make the quality of their life so much better,
Yeah. Yeah.
so much better.
Yeah.
I often say do not use the word hospice with
Mm-hmm.
older people, especially.
Mm-hmm.
It to them, it's like the word cancer was when I was a kid. It
Right.
was scared to death. My
Yeah.
dad brought hospice into Vermont
Mm-hmm.
with a social worker back in the 70s.
Mm.
2 weeks before my dad died, and my mom, for the first time, saw the hospice people.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Why are these hospice people here?" And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, um, because
Yeah.
dad's dying, mom. And
Yeah.
it was too hard for her. And she
Mm-hmm.
lived her whole life being married to a man who was a hospital chaplain and taught clinical pastoral education, taught people how to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's the old adage of the cobbler's children having no shoes can be true of their
Yeah.
spouses and other family members. So that's really important. Get the other thing I want people to understand is I have seen a lot of families pull
Mm-hmm.
things that they really shouldn't pull. So the moment your loved one has been diagnosed with a cognitive issue,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be dealt with an attorney, and you need to officially accept power of attorney and make it, that you are now accepting it, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have heard of so many children who, when stepmom or stepdad is away,
Mm-hmm.
they will take their parent with dementia, bamboozle an attorney into thinking that they're
Right.
copacetic, and maybe the attorney knows and maybe they don't,
Mm-hmm.
depends on how alert
Right.
they are, and get a whole new set of documents and a
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And so then people come back and find out that the kids, stepkids, have emptied the bank accounts,
Mm-hmm.
or the kids have emptied the bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Another great thing to put in a will, if you are worried about people contesting it, is that anyone who contests the will automatically only inherit $1. One of my friends did that. Her mom did
Mm-hmm.
that, and I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it kind of makes you bulletproof again.
Right. Right. Just a
Um,
quick question before
of
you go
course.
on, because something that's coming up for me, and you're talking about loved ones and, having the conversations that are so important so that wishes are followed, right?
Yes.
What do you do in the case, or what ideas would you be able to share in the case where those who are in the not final stages, but are capable still, but are still not interested in having conversation around it because it's the fear of all of it. We don't talk. We just don't.
Right.
Nope.
There
Just do
there are
whatever you're gonna do, kind of
yes,
thing.
there are lots of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how close the family is or the friends, if you are the legal power of attorney, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're the one who seems to be catching all the responsibility,
Yep.
I would, I highly, have you ever heard of Don Miguel Ruiz and the Four Agreements?
Oh,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes. The four agreements. Yep.
They are sacrosanct in my perspective. Don't assume, do your best, use your words,
Yep.
all these things. I think that should be everybody's
Go
kitchen
to.
go-to, right? So, because it saves you so much time and energy. So, in the spirit of that, I
Mm-hmm.
always direct people or my clients
Mm-hmm.
to please get everybody's email
Mhm.
who has a reason to know.
Mhm.
Send them an email saying, I know I'm not in, well, first, if you're not the power of attorney, have the discussion with the person who is privately, right?
Right.
We never want to embarrass anybody or put anybody on the spot,
Mhm.
because maybe they understand that they are the power of attorney, but they don't want to cope with it, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So, and that's okay. So when my aunt needed power of attorney to be enforced, it was
Mhm.
her husband first. He had
Mhm.
died 10 years before. Then it
Right.
was my mom.
Mhm.
My mom said, I have all I can do to take care of your father. So then it
Right.
fell to me. So I
Right.
used to worry that if I got hit by a bus,
Yeah.
who's going to be responsible for my beloved aunt that has Parkinson's and Parkinson's dementia? So if you only have one or two people on your documents, please go get another one or two added and
Mhm.
anyone removed that can no longer handle this
Sure.
role.
Yep.
That's really important. But
Mhm.
I regress. So
So many
sorry,
angles to talk to,
there's
right?
so many
Yeah.
angles about this. And
Yeah.
obviously I love this subject. And it's not most people's favorite subject.
Yeah.
So whenever I get a chance to talk about it, it's like effervescent. So send a letter out to these people and say, this is what's going on.
Mhm.
This is where I need help.
Mhm.
If you can support uh, with time, with
Mhm.
money,
Mhm.
mom's house needs to get cleaned,
Mhm.
or dad continues to pee all over the bathroom because his aim is gone, because his sight is gone, because his
Sure.
coordination is gone. Um,
Yep.
mom doesn't want to clean that up anymore. You
Mhm.
know, these are the things, it's the little things. And in my book,
Right.
Caregiver's Guide, I have a trigger worksheet so that you can figure out what are the things that you absolutely can't stand doing. That's part of caregivers taking care of themselves and
Mhm.
understanding boundaries, right?
Love that. Love that. Yeah. Thank you.
And the other thing is to understand is that those family members that you expected to be there and
Mhm.
help carry the weight of
Mhm.
the situation with your loved one. You do not know what's happened to them in their lives. You
Right.
do not know.
Yeah.
Never assume, going back to the four agreements.
Right.
You do not know if they were abused
Mhm.
mentally,
Mhm.
physically, or even if that person didn't do it to them, maybe they thought that person should have known. And so
Mhm.
they have
Yeah.
unexpressed anger.
Yeah.
So there are all these landmines, and many people judge and hold grudges
Mhm.
and drop family members and friends because you didn't do your part in taking
Right.
care of whoever. But
Right.
it may not be, I mean, if it is that they're jerks, well then fine, let the
Mhm.
universe deal with that.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, by sending out that email and saying, this is what I need, these are the
Mhm.
problems.
Mhm.
If you can help me now with mom or dad or whoever,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
If not, if you don't want to be on this email list anymore,
Right.
please let me know. I just am trying to keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
And and if you later on have more time or want to help with something,
Mhm.
that's great. And make
Right.
sure you say no judgment. Of
Right.
course, it really sucks if you're the one that's left holding the bag
Mhm.
and nobody else is willing to pick anything up. So, yes, you absolutely have a right to that anger.
Yeah.
Get a therapist and deal with it,
Mhm.
but do not make your life harder
Right.
because you are constructing all these stories around, and that again
Right.
goes back to the four agreements. Um, we have no idea
Right.
what other people have been through. And especially as we get older,
Mhm.
there are so many things that cause grief and that are losses. Even if it's something good, like, hey, I got a great promotion and a huge raise, So we're leaving the neighborhood we raised our kids in and we're going to a different one, or
Hmm.
I'm going to a different city.
Yeah.
And now I've lost all my roots, my church, my whatever, my favorite hangouts. That's loss.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is really loss. And very often, when we're in the middle of being in the sandwich generation, we do not actually have, or we do not permit ourselves the time to grieve all the
Hmm.
different losses and the friends that die, or your favorite movie star who you loved.
Hmm.
You know, my daughter and I were heartbroken when Diane Keaton died.
Yeah.
We adore her. We
Right?
watched
Yeah.
her movies our whole, my
Yeah.
daughter's whole life. Um, those things all add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes that will paralyze a person
Yeah.
and make if they haven't dealt with that whole thing and they've got a whole thermos full of loss,
Yeah.
the last thing they're going to be able to do is be proactive with your loved one because they've never dealt with the other losses.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're bad, it's not
Hmm.
that they're jerks, it's
Yeah.
they're just in a different place than you are.
Right.
Forgive them. I saw a great bumper sticker the other day. It said, treat everybody with love. I'll sort it out later,
Mm.
God.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we don't know what we don't know.
Hmm.
So, the other thing I want people to understand is when somebody gets a diagnosis, that same circumstance applies.
Hmm.
So, when we were young and our mom was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, she had spent years doing all sorts of stuff for the town,
Yeah.
involved in everything at school, the Girl Scouts, whatever.
Yeah.
The moment people found out that she was given 6 months to live, even though she didn't die happily till many decades later,
Hmm.
a lot of people stopped calling.
Mm.
And some of it was purely selfish because
Sure.
mom couldn't do anything for him anymore.
Hmm.
And some people, it becomes threatening.
Yeah.
If the priest's wife, who does everything for everybody, gets
Yeah.
aplastic anemia and she's that good,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm as good a person as her. So,
Hmm.
damn, what's going to
Yeah.
happen to me? And this
Yeah.
is not necessarily conscious.
No, of
It's
course.
just, it's just part of the fabric of
Yeah.
our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think what you're saying is so key for our audience in particular because we tend to carry so much. And like you say, they're layering and layering and layering, and we just keep forging ahead. We got to do, this is what we do. We care for we make sure everybody
yes.
else is okay. And then we come to a brick wall that we hit and we don't even know what's going on. But when you go under those layers. So I love what you're saying about get support for yourself as required, right? And
Yes.
communication is what I'm hearing a lot of in your conversation today. The importance of communicating and not assuming
Right.
that
Do
people
not
who are,
assume
yeah.
and do not wish and hope. That's wasted energy.
Mm,
People are where they are. You sending a rage, guilt-filled email is not going to move them on the
right,
meter.
of
It
course.
just isn't.
Hmm.
So if you want to alienate these people, then go right ahead.
There.
But
Yeah.
but if you want to preserve the relationship, and I
Yeah.
promise you, whoever the loved one is would never in a million years be okay with your relationship with this other person that they love ending because of them,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, so that's
Hmm.
really, really, really important.
Hmm.
To just level set everybody,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Don't keep spending time wondering, oh, is today the day that cousin
Yeah.
Andy, who's always loved mom, is going to pick up the phone and call? Assume
Yep.
once you get that letter out, you
Yep.
know what you're dealing with,
Yeah.
and you don't have to waste any more time and energy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you need resources, call up the high school, call up, what kid is looking to make money by raking up yards
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
mowing the lawn
Yeah.
or has a license and can't wait to use it
Right.
and can
Yeah.
pick up food for your parents, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Things like that. What
Yeah.
starving college student
Yeah.
who is a lovely person is willing to live with your parent or your loved one rent free just so that there's somebody there?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Are there some key things you mentioned about bulletproofing yourself with caregiving? Are there three key things? You've mentioned some, I know, and I know there's
Yeah,
so many, but
there are.
are there three that you noticed throughout your years of experience that really these are up there in terms of priority, let's say,
Well,
generally across the board?
yeah,
Pass.
having to go over what we've already talked
Yeah.
about. Having the DNR, if your loved one
Yep.
does not want to live anymore,
Yep.
when that naturally occurs, have that piece of paper signed by the doctor so that you can call 911 and
Yep.
have them, make your loved one
Honor
more
that.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Honor that. And if you can get ahead of everything and talk to them and interview their doctor about that and transfer them to an attending who understands death. I
Right.
had a dear friend whose parent was stage 4 with cancer, was in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody ever sat down with the family to say that their parent was actually dying. So
Mm-hmm.
when my friend started hearing the what's
Yeah.
often called the death rattle from her
Yeah.
parent,
Yes.
she ran outside and told the nurse. Well, her parent was still a full code. So
Yeah.
instead of that parent having a peaceful
Yeah.
ending,
Yeah.
they were pounded on their chest. Their family wasn't allowed to be with them. That's not a way to die.
No.
It
Yeah.
just isn't.
Yeah.
So, and if your loved one, one of the things that is so important is with cognitive decline. If
Mm-hmm.
your loved one has chosen, and you know this to be a fact, to
Yep.
not be intubated, okay,
Yep.
not be put on a respirator
Mm-hmm.
if they're not able to exist without it
Right.
under their current condition, like being septic
Mm-hmm.
or kidney failure or pneumonia, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do not allow them to be intubated.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen people have horrible deaths because the family consulted palliative care, but did not move their loved one over to palliative care or hospice.
Mm-hmm.
And many doctors who are not oriented in that,
Mm-hmm.
who are just general medical doctors, are
Right.
not okay with pulling plugs. And once you start the process of putting someone on a respirator, their kidneys will begin to fail. Their body will start to retain fluid. They will look
Mm-hmm.
like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Right.
And if they start to have kidney issues, then they can't have morphine because morphine can cause seizures. So then they have other painkillers,
Right.
which, in my opinion, from what I have personally seen, I'm not a
Not
doctor,
a
are not as effective as morphine. Now,
right.
if you're allergic to morphine or you can't take it, then that's the way it is.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
but don't the some of the most sacred times in my life have been when I was with my aunt, my dad, my mom, and other clients when they died. And it
Yeah.
can be such a loving, calm, peaceful thing. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
find that really important. The
Yep.
other, if your loved one has has any kind of cognitive issues or has a bad diagnosis, get the guns out of their house. Please
Mm-hmm.
get the bullets out, get the guns out. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care if you have the cop, you can call your local police station and they'll just take them for you. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe they'll sell them for you, or maybe they won't. That's very
Right.
random. But
Right.
you want the firearms out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
especially if your loved one has cognitive issues,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the different dementia diagnoses, the people can become violent. It is not their
Right.
fault,
Right.
just that part
Of
of their
course.
brain no longer works.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with dementia, do not ever, unless some doctor who really knows their stuff and your gut says is good, never reorient them, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Take them where they are, be with them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught very early with Aunt Esther when she had
Mm-hmm.
Parkinson's dementia by some of the nurses that they don't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So, they'll ask you crazy things
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, the thing to remember, is anybody going to see this Zoom?
Yep. Yep. It's going
Okay.
to be on YouTube, so there is a visual piece to it. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So imagine this is our brain. Okay.
yep.
We have birth, kindergarten,
Yep.
elementary school,
Sure.
college, tech school, marriage, whatever, and then eventually
Yep.
death.
Yep.
All these things are linear for us.
Right.
Someone who has dementia, everything's touching everything.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
And that is why
Mm-hmm.
they will be out of sorts sometimes.
Right. Right.
So we had my dad under full care
Mm-hmm.
on he was bedridden, um, side of the nursing home, and our mom was on the assisted living side. And I bopped in to see my dad one time, and my father was blind from glaucoma
Right.
damage for the
Yep.
last couple decades of his life. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Hey, Daddy, I'm going to go visit Mom, but I'll on the other side, but I'll be right back." All of a sudden, my father was back in seminary in New York City. He's like,
Yep.
"Lily, no, women aren't allowed in the seminary. Your mom can't
Yep.
be here." And I just said, "Oh, Daddy, I'm so sorry. I misspoke. I meant the hotel down the road. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was so silly." So I took care of his problem. I
Yeah.
did not tell him
No, you're
when he
wrong.
was in,
Yeah.
when he was in seminary, he wasn't married to Mom, and
Yeah.
that I wasn't born till 4 years after,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
And that we were in Vermont. The only time I ever tried to reorient any family member who was having a moment or whatever, my
Mm-hmm.
father thought he was out in the rain. And he said, "Lil, can you please help me get in from the rain?" And I said, he couldn't feel his hands. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, he was blind. I said,
Right.
"Dad, can you feel the the board of the
Mm-hmm.
mattress, the firmness of the mattress underneath your arm?"
Mm-hmm.
To which my father replied, "Lily Christina Udell Fiore, when I ask my daughter for help, I expect her help. Do not try to tell me that I'm not in the rain when I'm getting soaked." I immediately apologized,
Mm-hmm.
said, "Daddy, I'll get your shoes shined up for work. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you.
Mm.
Please forgive me."
Mm-hmm.
And then all was well. I'm
Right.
glad it happened
Right.
because that was the only time my father raised his voice to
Yeah.
me. And he was completely lucid 90 plus percent of the time.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, I
Yeah.
always say, if you are close or if somebody in your circle is close to your loved one,
Mm-hmm.
let the staff know wherever they are that you can be
Right.
called at 2 a.m. if there's a problem. My dad
Yeah.
was so humble and so unselfish and never ever acted entitled. And there was one night when he was really upset and the
Yeah.
nurses couldn't get him to talk. And so they're like, "Hey, Lil, we asked your dad if he'd tell you what was wrong," and he agreed. And I said, "Okay, hey,
Yep.
Dad, what's going on?"
Yep.
And he goes, "Oh, Lil, it's I've got a really important meeting at work tomorrow at 8:30 and we're getting a nor'easter. And I don't know how I'm going to get out of the driveway tomorrow because the plow guy said he can't get here early."
Mm.
And I said, "Daddy, look, I'm not working tomorrow. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the snow blower. I'll use the shovel. We'll get,
Yep.
because they had a long driveway. We'll get everything behind your car out
Yep.
of the way. I'll get up every couple of hours while you're sleeping and
Yep.
clear anything that's accumulated. You're on your own with the street and the rest of the way to the hospital, but I'll take
Yeah.
care of that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Oh, you do that, Lil? Of course I would,
Yeah.
Daddy. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
I did not tell my father it was June. I
Yeah,
did not
exactly.
tell him there
Yeah.
were no nor'easters in the forecast. I
Yeah.
just solved his problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
In a way that could put his mind at ease, right?
yes,
In the moment.
that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
You've got to figure out,
Yep.
at one point my dad asked somebody for an extension cord, and they're like, okay, Lee, we'll get it for you. And he was fine.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
anybody said, Lee, you don't need an extension
Yeah.
cord, that would
Yeah.
not have gone over well.
No, exactly. And it's probably a lot of learning for a caregiver who this is new for. And it's just,
Yes,
you know what? We're going to slip up, we're going to make mistakes, but that's okay. And you get to be able to forgive yourself for the oopsies. And as long as you
please.
continue to keep that desire for connection and love alive, you're
Yes,
doing your part as best you can, whatever that needs to be, right, Lil
right.
or
It
Lily?
was,
Yeah.
by the way, um, my aunt was in a very good facility in Chicago, but I didn't move her to Vermont for years because this was where she had lived since she was
Yeah.
six. But once the dementia got worse, her friends stopped visiting her because they didn't want to go to the nursing home and deal
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
she fell. They didn't send her to the ER until, even though I asked them to, until 8 hours later when they called me and said, her hand is all swollen, her wrist is probably broken, you know. So
Hmm.
she did need surgery.
Hmm.
And my brother and I both were there. And
Hmm.
then we were both supposed to fly out the next morning thinking she was in good shape. And my
Right.
gut just said, no,
Mm-hmm.
don't go. So I didn't. And I showed up unannounced and found that her newly repaired wrist was down in her waist, which is, of course, not good. You need to prevent
Yep.
swelling. And she was soaked and she was frowning, and they were behind on her Tylenol pain meds.
Oh,
So I
yep.
said enough
Yep.
and made arrangements and brought her
Hmm.
to Vermont and be creative
Yep.
and had them. My father had fallen 3 nights before and was not able to go home, but I got them to put my dad and my aunt in the same room because she
Hmm.
still knew who my dad was
Nice. Yep.
and they could comfort each other. And then I
Yeah.
only had to hire one extra caregiver
Yeah.
to take care of both of them.
Right.
So my mom, and also to keep my poor mom from going nuts, having to go from her sister's room to her husband's room.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and my mom called me in a panic. Lil, Esther said she's got to go to work. What do I do? What do I do? And I said,
Yeah.
Mom, tell her she's on vacation.
Yeah.
So my mom went and told her that. She comes back. Esther says she's got to pick up her paycheck. I said, tell her that it's automatically deposited and she doesn't have
Yeah.
to worry about it. Go enjoy
Yeah.
your vacation. My mom comes back. She said she has to make sure the amount's right. I said, tell her I checked and it's to the penny what she said. Tell her to
Hmm.
go have a good margarita. It takes us a while
Yeah.
before you can be okay with outright lying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the question I always ask everybody is, by not lying, are you making your loved one feel better?
Right.
Are you improving the quality of their life? No,
Hmm.
you're not.
Right.
And I had a client whose aunt loved to go on walks, had gone on walks for decades, but she was now bedridden and couldn't go. And
Hmm.
she was very, very clear on wanting her walks, but she had very little short-term memory. So I told my client to stop the agitation about when am I going on a walk? Swing her, have her sit on the edge of her bed,
Mm-hmm.
swing her legs around, put on socks, boots, a coat, a hat, mittens. Don't zip it up because you don't want her to overheat.
Right.
Then start talking about, oh, what do you think we're going to see on the walk today? What do you want to see on the walk today?
Mm-hmm.
Spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about the walk and what it's going to feel like, smell like, all the different senses. And then change the subject
Mm-hmm.
for 5 minutes until whenever you know that they're
The
completely
walk
distracted.
is, yeah.
Right. And then go, oh my goodness, that was such a great walk. Oh, you must be exhausted and so thirsty. Let me get your coat off and your shoes off. Oh,
Right.
let me get you a glass of water. Do you want ice in that? Are you warm from the walk?
Mm-hmm.
It made the woman so happy.
Happy.
And
Yeah.
and she, I had her ask, what was your favorite part? And her brain could recall
Of
some of
course.
those older things she had seen and loved. And so that brought her joy,
Right.
right? So it can be really handy when someone
Mm-hmm.
has a really short memory
Mm-hmm.
because if your dad's a Red Sox fan, put on,
Yep.
when they won the pennant and beat the Yankees and got the World Series. Get it off YouTube, put it on a loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your dad'll just
Yep.
keep being happy all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I have a whole thing in my book called Lily's Sensory Care Method, and I kind of figured this out with my dad and with Aunt Esther. Many people do not take the time to actually sit down and figure out what sounds your loved one can still
Right.
hear,
Yep.
what smells they can still smell, what tastes they can still taste, if they have floaters or
Yep.
curtains or different things. So there's a whole list, an assessment that I give
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you understand what you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
then there are pages and pages and pages of questions to ask them.
Right.
And then when you're done, what you have is what is a waste of time and money,
Right. Yeah.
and what brings them joy.
Nice.
So you
Yeah.
can it's like our children, right? When
Mm-hmm.
they're 5, if they love Spider-Man, you're going to
Yep.
buy them the Spider-Man sheets, towels,
Mm-hmm.
PJs, and toothbrush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do the same with your loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Try to work with whichever senses they still have. So my dad
Mm-hmm.
was blind
Mm-hmm.
and he couldn't feel on his
Yep.
hand, but his hearing was fine. And
Right.
he was basically cognitively there
Mm-hmm.
90
Yep.
plus percent of the time. So I did CDs, books on tape, because it was before Audible. Um, and he got to hear that. He was a priest. He loved incense. You can't burn smelly candles
Right.
or
Yep.
use plugins or do any of that stuff in nursing
Yep.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So I went around, I spent a lot of time researching on the web, and I found that Barney's in New York had a spray of
Right.
real frankincense. Most extravagant thing I've ever bought in my life. But I got it, and then my dad could feel like he was in
Right.
church again.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he had trouble swallowing. He only weighed 128 pounds. He had lost so much weight because of what
Mm-hmm.
was going on in his
Right.
esophagus.
Right.
So the hospice nurse said, go to the local grocery stores or bakeries and ask them to sell you the pie filling that's cream or
Mm-hmm.
that has no fruit in it so that they can't choke.
Right.
And that is a way to get different flavors.
Right.
I
Yep.
also went and got all the mini bottles, the mini bar bottles
Mm-hmm.
of his favorite liqueurs and stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
that every time I gave him liquid morphine in his mouth and he didn't like the thing, we
Right.
had fun. And it's
Right.
like, all right, Daddy, you want JD? You want creme de menthe?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
as much as you can make things fun.
Mm-hmm.
Make things fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. So, information that you're talking about is in your book. Am I correct in terms
Yes,
of the checklists and all of those good things?
all
Okay.
these things. Yep,
Okay.
Lily's
So,
Caregiver's Guide. It's on
okay.
Amazon. When
Yep.
you next see it, I have a different publisher that's republishing it. Um,
Perfect.
and there's a QR code in this one
Yeah.
and at the back of the book. And everybody is welcome to share this QR code. My book
Okay.
is full of worksheets and forms. The
Perfect.
best way to deal with all of this stuff is to
Mm-hmm.
be organized. So
Yeah.
you can scan that,
Okay.
and then it will take you to a page where you can download all the different forms for all the different chapters. Get a
Okay.
three-ring binder,
Yep.
look at the table of contents, see which ones are applicable to you or will be.
Right.
So
Right.
you
Okay.
have you have too much to do. So
Mm-hmm.
get everything out on paper.
Yeah.
Get anybody and everybody who is helping with your loved one
Mm-hmm.
to write down on the the linens changing sheet, the
Mm-hmm.
date and their initials that they changed the
Right.
linen.
Yeah.
Have them write down when they wash their hair, trim their eyebrows,
Yep.
mustache, nose hair, ears hair, when they
Yep.
clean their CPAP, when they check their PIC line,
Right.
all
All
these
this stuff.
things.
Yeah.
And there's forms for skin checks
Mm-hmm.
and bed turning, because if your loved one
Mm.
is
Right.
bedridden, you have to move them
Yep.
around in the bed and put pillows under them so that they don't develop bed
Head
sores.
source. Yeah.
And so there's a skin check thing
Yeah.
so that
Perfect.
when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, "How long has this been going on?"
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
open up your handy dandy folder and
Yeah.
say, "Well," and the
Yeah.
other thing is, I really recommend anytime there's anything with your loved one's body that is suspicious,
Mm-hmm.
get a dime,
Mm-hmm.
put it next to whatever it is, take a picture of it,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's red,
Right.
draw, grab your Sharpie, draw a line around it, put the dime back because you want with and without the Sharpie,
Mm-hmm.
and note the time next
Right.
to it and the date. When it starts to go out of that line, you need to send updated pictures to
Right.
the doctor, put them on their doctor's portal in
Mm-hmm.
their patient page.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can understand how infected something is if you do not
Don't.
put that dime there. And
Yeah.
if you do not put the Sharpie
Circle around
circle
it.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blood poisoning can happen very quickly with
Fast. Yeah.
older people.
Yeah.
The other thing is that older women, especially, but also older men,
Mm-hmm.
get UTIs.
Mm-hmm.
They can get them very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice any kind of mental status change with your loved
Mm-hmm.
one, before you go concluding they have dementia,
Right.
get them a
Yeah.
cup, a pee cup, bring them to the doctors, get
Mm-hmm.
them to pee in the toilet a little bit first, and
Yep.
then put the cup underneath so
Yep.
that any bacteria in their private area has
Will
been
be.
washed out,
Yeah.
and then bring it. Um,
Okay.
Really important. And
Yeah, for
obviously, if
sure.
there's blood in the urine, that's a sign of a
Of
UTI.
course. Of course.
Well, not
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody knows that, you know?
Yeah. 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 For sure. For sure. So much information, and I know we could go on, but we'll never hit all of the possibilities in a conversation.
No,
And that's why you've created your book and
it
the
is.
resources that sit within that. And there will be an updated
Yes.
version coming out. And so all of this information will definitely be in the show notes so that people can find the book, find you, because I know that you work with clients and help them through these upcoming possibilities that might be happening in their lives now or in the near future, or they can reflect on what they have done in the past and knowing that there's
Yeah.
always caregiving responsibilities that might come your way. Sometimes we understand and know they're coming, and sometimes we get hit with surprises,
It's,
right?
I'm very
So,
different than most counselors or whatever
mhm.
because I charge by the hour and I will
Okay.
keep a running total. You can text me as
Hmm.
often as you need to,
Hmm.
and you can send me an email. If it's a quick email and I don't have to write back a whole dissertation,
Yep.
then I don't count that. If I develop a care plan for you or
Right.
things like that, then I will charge you and I will charge you
Sure.
for phone calls. But
Yep.
other than that, you can call me and text me whenever you want.
Okay.
And, I'm because people don't fall or get sick between the hours of 8 and 5,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday,
Isn't
you
that the
know?
truth? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unless you dealt with this stuff,
Yeah.
you have no idea what the heck to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I really appreciate today's conversation, and I really love the angle and the way you're approaching it. It's for through the lens of love as a
Yes.
caregiver. It's not through the
Yeah.
lens of, well, what are the actions we have to take? You've got the soft
Mm-mm.
spot and the heart connection, which I think is why your book is so empowering, because it comes in that kind of a package. So thank you so much for
Oh, no
everything you
problem.
do.
And there's
And
one other thing I
yeah,
neglected to talk about. Self-care as a caregiver is
mm,
paramount. And this also goes for anyone who's lost a loved one, as
hmm
for coping with grief and loss. If you are not sleeping at least 4 to 5 hours a night, if you are not eating
mm,
or and only can get down one meal a day, if
hmm
you are not keeping up on your fluids, if
hmm
you're having nightmares, if you are finding yourself crying at Hallmark movies or gushy commercials, or if you find yourself snapping at everybody for no reason, those are all signs of what my dad and I called leaking. Things are too much.
yep,
Those are red flags.
okay,
Go see your general doctor,
hmm
get something to sleep. Do not worry right now about getting addicted to sleeping medicine. As long as you can still get woken up, if the
hmm
phone rings and something's
yep,
wrong, that's all that matters. You've got to sleep. You cannot do
yeah,
everything that's expected of you or make good decisions for yourself or your loved one or
yes,
your family if you're not taking care of you.
hmm
So if one of your friends says, "Hey, what can I do? I know you're slammed," say, "Bring over dinner," right?
yep,
Have somebody
yeah,
start a meal train online
hmm
and say, these are the restaurants we love to get takeout from.
yep,
Get us a gift card if
yeah,
you want to do something.
yep,
And use the forms in my book for everything. There's not, it literally goes from how to interview caregivers
hmm
and how to look at the different physical symptoms and what you need to be aware of for basic knowledge, all the way through the last chapters, all on grief.
right,
And one of the things that drives me nuts is when people die, everybody says, "Oh, let me know what you need." Well,
yeah,
nobody can think.
no,
So I have a whole bunch of sheets that you can print out and hand
hmm
to people. When they say,
right,
"Let me know what you need," say, "Oh, here you go, pick one."
right, yeah,
And there's a place for them to
perfect,
write their name, their email, and their cell number.
yeah,
So then you can
beautiful,
look back because
yeah.
you're not going to remember who said what was going
Oh,
to, they were going to do what. No
no.
way.
No.
So,
Yeah. Love that.
and my website has a ton of information on it as
Right.
well.
And we'll have that in the show notes too. So that's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you again for your experience, your expertise, your brilliance in this challenging but necessary area. And it doesn't have to be as challenging as we make it. And if we, again, approach it from the idea of, I'm doing this for myself and my loved one, what does that need to get to look like in the end, right? So
Yes. Oh,
thank you. Yeah.
oh, you're welcome. I thought of one other thing. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay, so my father explained to me that many people who were keeping vigil in the hospital with their loved ones would be very upset because they would make sure that someone was with their loved one 24/7. And then all of a sudden, after a week or two, someone had to pee and the other person was in the cafeteria.
Yep.
And at that moment, their loved one chose to leave.
Yep.
And they would get upset and say, "I can't believe we failed them." And what my father explained was that person did not want to leave with family in the room. They, that was too upsetting for them. So they
Mm,
took the first opportunity.
yeah.
So I absolutely believe and do this with everybody. If you want to, if hey, I love you. If you want me to be here, I'm here.
hmm
If you don't, and you've decided you don't want to die with family or anybody else, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And so with Aunt Esther, I'd been up with her all night, and I, she'd been unconscious for a few days. So I said, Esther, I'm driving home to Essex. I'm gonna shower and change, and I'm coming back. If you want to leave and be alone, I've told the staff they're not allowed to come into your room for at least an hour. So
Hmm.
you've got free reign.
Hmm.
However, if you're still here when I get back, I'm not leaving again.
Right.
So make up your mind.
Hmm.
And she waited for me,
Hmm.
you know, but
Yeah.
I gave her the choice.
Yeah.
And even if they're unconscious, they can still
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always believe that.
Hmm. Hmm. For
So,
sure.
all
For
right,
sure.
sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. No problem at all. And, it's such a good conversation. You never know. We might circle back and continue it another time. We just
I'd
never
love it.
know.
I'd love it.
Lily, thank you so much again for being here today and sharing with us and giving us some new opportunities to come up with plans that will be required for whomever, whenever in the future. So thank you again. And
You are very welcome.
before we close, I do want to share something gently and cleanly that this November I am hosting a live in-person experience and we're calling it Ignite, the Inner Uprising. It'll be a 2-day immersive gathering for 1,200 women in midlife, women who are feeling this quiet pull towards something more truthful, embodied, and more fully their own. It's Ignite is going to be an extension of the conversations that we have here on Thrive After 45. And it's where reflection becomes embodiment and where insight becomes integration, where women who have held so much for others gather to stand fully in their own sovereignty. And it's something, if something stirred in you today as we were having our incredible conversation, if your body leaned in, it's probably not accidentally. The wait list is open now, so if it seems like Ignite is in your future, thank you. I invite you to add your name to our wait list, and the link will be in the show notes. And as always, make sure you follow, share, like, review so more women can find these very important conversations. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves and make sure you do something for you, by you, because of you, especially when you are in caregiver mode. Thank you again, Lily, for being here. So appreciate all of our conversation today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.